Catholic Charities is the largest social service provider in our area. Without Catholic Charities, so many people who are in need would not get the support and help that they need. By and large, they are the ones who are really the caretakers of this area in so many ways.
Catholic Charities does so much for so many people. If you look at all of the things that they do throughout the 4 counties, you name it, usually they do it. If you're vulnerable, if you're poor, if you have an addiction, if you have a mental illness, you can go to Catholic Charities and they will help you.
I see people every day that walk through the doors of the hospital that if it were not for an organization like Catholic Charities, would have no place to go.
I myself am interested in providing for people who have been victims of homelessness, domestic violence, drug abuse, any number of things that may have affected their ability to fend for themselves in the world. I knew of Catholic Charities, I knew they had those types of programs, and I've been even pleasantly surprised by the extent and the quality of the programs that Catholic Charities has in that regard.
You have people who are battered, you have people who are victims of violence, you have people with fears and apprehension who have a place to go to, a place where they can feel safe, a place where they can get a fresh start, a new start, where they can become centered on what's important to them and to their children so that they can go on and have a normal life, a prosperous life, a life filled with values.
You know, what we really liked about it was the mission of Catholic Charities, and it really was to have this impact in the community and really make a difference for those that needed help. And for us, you know, we feel everyone should have a level playing field and have the best chance they can to, you know, succeed and do well in life. And that's exactly what the core of this charity does. And it's just wonderful to see.
When we look at Catholic Charities and we look at their mission and how focused they are in helping people in need in the communities, helping the poor and the elderly and the mentally disabled, helping foster children who are looking for permanent families, there's really not a high enough premium that you can place on that sort of service. And we look at not only the number of programs that they have, but the depth and the impact that they have. It's something that we feel is important, and it's an appropriate use of our resources.
There's such an isolationism in the world today for many people, and Catholic Charities brings to them a place of refuge, a welcoming place that looks at them as people with dignity that deserve to be in a better space, and they help them get there. And I see the need for that just growing rather than diminishing.
I lost my job, and within like 2 months I ended up losing my house. I never thought that I would end up being homeless with 2 twin infants, and I didn't know of any other place to go, so I called emergency services. They helped us find temporary housing. They gave us an 18-month program to get established with a job again and get back on your feet, really, it's great, because we'd probably still be out on the street if it wasn't for them. It's important to support Catholic Charities because it could be the beginning or the end of life for any individual that truly needs the help. And it's willing to make, sacrifices and just wants a second chance.
I'm very excited that Catholic Charities is a leader in the Mercer County and Central Jersey area. This is such a wealthy area. We take it for granted, one of the wealthiest areas in the entire country, and yet the need is so great. It's amazing that 100,000 people are served by Catholic Charities, and while they're in the trenches day to day, meeting needs, and the needs are overwhelming and you can't even meet all those needs, they're also working strategically on issues at the policy level and influencing state and local policy, and making sure that issues like family homelessness, which is a huge problem in Central Jersey, is being addressed, and treating the individual as a whole person.
First of all, it's one of the best run organizations from a business perspective that you would want to see, so that they are trying to make sure that they spend all the dollars that people give to them in a very wise way. It's very difficult. You have to make choices. There are probably more needs in the diocese than there is money. And the board and management, particularly with Fran Dolan, has done a wonderful job in trying to prioritize and to try to meet the needs of the community where there's nobody else to do that. I think they've done a good job of that.
They serve and are able to assist over 100,000 people in our community through 58 different programs. So the range of services that they provide is just absolutely outstanding.
I've always been proud of the fact that Catholic Charities actually applies the funds that it raises, either through donations or grants, to the charitable programs and to the services for which those monies are intended. So I think it's one of the most effective and efficient organizations of its type.
And I think the thing that impressed me most was finding out that over 90% of the money they received went to direct services. And there aren't many charities that can say that.
Well, Catholic Charities is really a one-on-one thing. I come in, I interact with the person, I fix something. They get a sense of, someone's come to help me. And you don't get a welfare check or, something in the mail or something. You got a person. I may be the face of Catholic Charities, and I think that that's important, that they see there's not a bureaucracy, that there's someone.
If Catholic Charities didn't exist and all of these were government-run programs, I'm not sure they would be run with the compassion and the dedication. But more importantly, I know that they would be run with a lot more regulations and more paperwork and less time in hands-on and taking care of people. I think Catholic Charities allows for that to happen in a much better and a much more efficient way.
When I first made contact with Providence House, I was desperate. I had no idea what to do. I knew we needed to get out, and I had no idea how. They helped me figure out what I needed to do. They helped me go back to school. They helped me function again. They helped me get my life back, and my daughter's. All the services that Providence House provides, they do it free of charge. So when you need help the most, you don't have to worry about whether or not you can pay for it. Without the people who support Providence House and give them the funding to do what they do, it wouldn't be possible. There wouldn't be a place to go when you need help. I don't think there's anything I can say but thank you. How do you thank somebody for your life?
This is an organization that gives hope to people. It helps them in their times of need, and it needs the support of everyone to help continue this mission.
I think all of us have an obligation to give back and to do what we can to help those less fortunate. And I think Catholic Charities certainly provides the means and can facilitate the giving and making sure that the monies are used for the intended purposes. But then it's up to the rest of us to step up and to support the good work of Catholic Charities.
I think the only limitation is in resources, it's certainly not in will. And to the extent that we could provide more resources, I think they'll be more able to deal with some of these problems.
I think if someone were going to make a major contribution to New Jersey and to some of its needs, I think giving money to Catholic Charities would be an excellent use of their money.
We know it's having an impact, and we like to let our employees know they're having an impact. So it feels good for us as a company to be involved and to stay involved.
Every organization's business is about people, and that's whether you're a business like we are, or a nonprofit, or a church. The ultimate objective is serving people and helping people. We are all given many gifts in our lives, and I think one of the important responsibilities that we have as individuals is to share our gifts and to share our talents, and that I think is what Catholic Charities is ultimately all about.
Each and every one of you is a part of our community. Each and every one of you shares in the joy of being able to do something good, and we share in the tears and the sorrowful things that we see, but we know that working together we do make a difference. And it's a wonderful work that we do, and indeed it is our legacy.